Thank you so much. Thank you, Francis Johnson, soon to be congressman. Thank you, Janice Laws, soon to be commissioner of insurance.
Thank you!
I know there might be some confusion, but my name is Stacey Abrams, and I intend to be the next governor of the great state of Georgia. But we got a little bit of work to do before we get there. You see, I have an opponent in this race who has decided that the numbers aren't looking good for him.
Okay.
And usually when you see something isn't going your way, you go with what you know. And unfortunately, what my opponent knows is how to suppress the vote. He spent the last 10 years, the last decade, fighting against the right to vote. And when he finally got the reins of power in 2010, he took it to a whole new level. This is someone who arrested a woman and charged her with a felony for helping her blind mother cast a ballot. This is a man who in 2016, we took him to court, Francis and I, with some good friends, and we got a federal judge to tell him to stop suppressing the vote. He had illegally canceled 33,000 voters in the state of Georgia. And a federal judge said that is illegal and made him put them back on the rolls. But the problem is he's got power. And so what he did next, no, we don't do that. No. We vote him out. That's what we do. We vote him out. Because what he did next is what makes me so angry. It makes me sad for our democracy, because what he did was in 2017, after a judge told him in 2016 to stop what he's doing, he got his friends in the House and his friends in the Senate to pass a law saying it was okay to discriminate. It was a license to discriminate against voters. They said it was okay to do it. And they put it into law that he could do this. That he could say that if they dropped a hyphen from your name, if you spell Francis with a Y and not an I, he could deny you the right to vote. And what we found out last week through an independent investigation from the Associated Press is that 53,000 Georgians who thought that they were ready to vote are on the pending list. But justice cannot be allowed to be pending in Georgia. We will not let him take their votes away. We will not let him win. Because we are better than that. We are the cradle of the civil rights movement. That's who we are. But we are a state that is changing, and we're changing for the better. We are a state that looks like America, that is racially diverse, that is economically diverse, that believes that who you love and how you identify cannot be used as a reason to strip your humanity from you. That is who we are. We believe in education from cradle all the way to career. We believe that our youngest Georgians deserve to start off ahead and never fall behind. We believe that our teachers deserve to be paid not just a living wage, but a competitive wage. And we believe that it's not just about your paycheck, it's also about your pensions. And I'm the only candidate who will protect teacher pensions when I'm in the governor's mansion. My opponent also thinks that it's okay that a lot of our students go to college and leave with enough debt to buy a really nice house in Buckhead. His answer to college debt is don't. Exactly. How do you do that? My answer to college debt is that we make college debt free in the state of Georgia. Now the thing of it is, folks are like, well, we already have the Hope Scholarship, and I agree. I fought in 2011 against the Republicans when they tried to strip away the B average for the Hope Scholarship. When they tried to say you had to pass a standardized test to be affordable to go to college. But what I did in 2011 is I'm going to do even more in 2019. Because hope has always had a little bit of a flaw. It's always said you have to have a B to be successful.
Okay.
Well, I bet you in this room there's some strong C's and some D's doing the best they can. And I'm the only candidate. And I'm the only candidate in this race who says that we have to expand hope and create Hope 2.0 so need-based aid becomes a part of how we get our kids through college in the state of Georgia. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make certain that in the state of Georgia, I'm not going to be yet another education governor, because we've had those. We've had them around this country, and we've had too many in the state of Georgia. I'm going to be the public education governor of the great state of Georgia. That's what I'm going to do. But we can educate our children from cradle to career, but we've got to make sure there are jobs in that career. And I will give Governor Deal credit. He has created a lot of jobs in Georgia. The problem is too many of us have 2 or 3 of them. And the reality is it's not enough to have a good job. You have to have a good paying job. You have to have a job that lets you live where you love and not have to move away from home to make a life. And I'm the only candidate with a plan to invest in all of Georgia, all 159 counties and all the communities in those counties. You see, my opponent says that the answer to every problem is deregulation. Exactly. I believe in investment. You see, I'm a small business owner myself, like Janice Laws, and I know that when you start a small business, the difference in being able to turn a dream into reality is access to capital. Now, my opponent, he seems to have friends who will loan him $500,000 so he doesn't have to pay back. But the rest of us need other help. And when I said that we should create a $10 million low-interest loan, that we should create a $10 million pool for small business financing, he said anybody who needs money can just go to the bank. What bank? Now, this is coming from a man who during the Great Recession took $3.6 million in stimulus money from the taxpayers. But when I said let's give $10 million to Georgians, he said don't do it, we don't need it. Do you agree with Brian Kemp? No! Do you agree with Brian Kemp? No! Do you agree with Brian Kemp? No! And therefore, I am the only candidate, the only choice, if you want to have a good job, if you want to take your dream to reality. Because I want to create 50,000 jobs in Georgia, but not just by bringing big companies here that may go to Atlanta. I want to go to Statesboro. I want to go to Hinesville. I want to go to Glasgow down in Thomas County. And what I want to do is say, look, we can take 5,000 small businesses across the state of Georgia, including Camden County, and McIntosh County, and Colquitt County. And then we get those 5,000 businesses enough resources that they can create 10 new jobs each, 10 good paying jobs. Because those are 50,000 jobs that never leave Georgia. That's why I'm running to be the next governor of our state. That's why we've got to get this done. And I want to create a lot of different jobs, because people shouldn't have to go into agriculture or hospitality to make a living in Georgia. Why not create renewable energy jobs? Because I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Climate change is real. And we can create 25,000 to 45,000 good-paying jobs in Georgia if we acknowledge that renewable energy is not only the future, it's the now. And I'm the only candidate ready to do it. But I also understand that we can build a thriving and diverse economy. We can educate bold and ambitious children. But unless we do the fundamentals right, nothing else matters. And as Janice said, I'm the only candidate for governor who will expand Medicaid on day one. That's my promise. Now, let me explain why Medicaid expansion is so important, because a lot of folks think about it as health care for the poor, but here's the thing. In the state of Georgia, we say you're too rich for health care if you make more than $7,000. Yes, Medicaid expansion is for folks who make between $7,000 and $17,000. And we have a governor and a wannabe governor who say that you're too wealthy, too well off to get access to health care. And they're saying that to 500,000 Georgians, most of whom are working hard in 2 jobs, making just enough money to get by, but not enough money to qualify for health care. And he's saying to them, you're on your own. He's saying to 21 rural hospitals that are desperate to stay alive, that they're about to go the way of the other 10 that have already shut down. He's saying it's not my problem, it's your problem. Because his answer, what is it? Deregulation. Innovation. I've never seen innovation save my life. I need a doctor. I need a nurse. I need a medical professional in my community. And his answer is figure it out for yourself. I'm the only candidate who understands that money, that 500,000 people who get covered, helps everybody else. Because in the states that expand Medicaid, everyone's health insurance costs went down.
That's right.
They dropped by 7 to 10%. Imagine getting 10% back on your health insurance premiums. That's what happens in the states that expand Medicaid for everybody. But it also saves rural hospitals.
That's right.
And it creates 56,000 jobs in Georgia, 60% of which are not in metro Atlanta. So it creates jobs across our state. And right now, the state of Georgia is giving away $8 million a day.
8 million.
We have given away $8 million a day since January 2014. That is $12 billion of our money that's gone to Connecticut and Kentucky and Ohio and Indiana and California. If Mike Pence, when he was governor of Indiana, could expand Medicaid, if Jerry Brown, the governor of California, can expand Medicaid, if Mike Pence and Jerry Brown can agree on something, by God, Georgia needs to get on board. It's time to expand Medicaid. But it's not just about our physical health. It's not just about our economic health. It's also about mental health. And y'all know that too many of our folks, when they face mental health challenges, they often turn to substance abuse. And the problem in Georgia is that the number one place to get treatment and support is not our hospitals. It's our jails. Our prison system is the number one provider of mental health care in the state of Georgia. So instead of seeing your doctor, you see the sheriff. And you get locked up. And for me, this was personal. In a single generation, my mom was first generation high school, first generation college, first generation grad school. My dad's first generation college, first generation grad school. But in a single generation, they produced 2 PhDs, 2 JDs, a social worker, and my brother Walter. Now, some of you heard me talk about my brother Walter because I don't hide from truth.
Come on.
And we can't elect leaders who don't understand our truths. And my younger brother is a brilliant man. He's 39 this year, and he is getting out of prison for the 3rd time. Because every time he goes in, what we find and what we found the first time was that my brother is a brilliant man, went to Morehouse College, but dropped out before his senior year because his addiction to drugs was stronger than his ambition to be a lawyer. And he wandered for more than a decade until he got incarcerated in 2014. And when he went to prison, that's when he was first diagnosed not only as a heroin addict, but as someone who's bipolar. And it turns out my brother's been bipolar since he was probably 16 years old. When he started getting into fights at school and having mood swings, and they just thought he was another bad kid. And when the teachers tried to help him by taking him out of college prep and putting him in remedial, my parents kept him in college prep, but they didn't have the language to describe mental illness. And as you know, in our communities, there's a stigma attached. And even if they'd known, they didn't have the money because we didn't have health insurance. And so my brother wandered for more than a decade until he found himself in a prison where they diagnosed him for the first time and they put him on medication because that's what the law required. And my brother got stable and he got sober and he was a model prisoner and they let him out. And he was ready to be productive, but the minute he walked out of prison, because he's in the South, he lost his health insurance. He lost the very care that kept him stable. And they said, well, go get a good job and you can get health insurance again. But no one's going to hire you when you have to check the box saying you've been in prison. And they said, well, go get a stable place to live, but don't live near anybody who has the problems you have, but who's going to rent you an apartment when your last address was a state penitentiary. And so my brother relapsed and he reoffended and he was reincarcerated. And the thing is, this cycle will continue because all the love in the world cannot solve the problem that my brother has, which is that the system is organized against him. But the system can be fixed. Because I intend to be a governor, not a governor of a state of retribution. I will be the governor of redemption in the state of Georgia. That's where I'm running. That's what we're going to do. But we can't do this alone. Francis can't get elected alone. Janice can't get elected alone. We need your help, because I'm voting for me. But we need 53,000 folks to vote for those who've been told, no, you can't vote. And we need 1 million people to turn out who knows that their voices matter this year. We can win this election, and they know I believe that the appropriate hip-hop term is they are shook. Because that's why they're saying crazy stuff all the time. But we know we can win this election. Because I'm in a dead heat with a Republican in Georgia. But that's because the polls are looking at likely voters. They're looking at the folks who show up year after year after year. They're not counting on the unlikely voters. They're not counting on young people who know that their futures depend on this election. They're not counting on those teachers who know that they deserve to stop high-stakes testing and actually teaching again. They're not counting on law enforcement officers who my opponent says don't deserve a living wage. That's the county's problem. I'm the only candidate who's going to make sure everyone who serves our state makes a living wage. They're not counting on them. They're not counting on Georgia Southern University standing up and showing out. They're not counting on Bullitt County busting through those records and doing it again and again and again. We've got two ways to beat them. Number one, I need you to say vote early. Vote early! You all started it yesterday, but we got to keep it up, because here's the thing. They're used to us showing up on day 1 or day 2.
That's right, that's right.
It's day 13 and day 14 where we start to get in trouble.
Come on.
It's day 16 and day 17 when we start to fall behind. And by election day, they're winning by inches, not by miles.
Come on.
But we got to stay hard and keep running hard and keep fighting hard and keep voting early, because we need to bank our votes so we can win this election. So everybody say vote early. I need you to vote early. I need you to get it done. I know you have a plan that you do things the same way every time. Change it. Because life happens.
That's right.
A test you thought you studied for, you don't know as much as you thought you knew. A child you thought was doing well gets sick. The car that you were relying on breaks down, so vote early. Put your votes in the bank and then go and get more votes. Because not only do I need you to first do what? Vote early. I need you to volunteer hard. Say volunteer hard. Volunteer hard. I need you to volunteer hard, because we've got to turn out folks who don't think that they matter. Because y'all know Statesboro, beautiful town, but y'all know there's certain streets where you drive a little faster so you don't have to stop at that light. Places where you don't turn left, you only turn right. People that you broke up with, or don't talk to, or owe money to, I need you to find all of them and get them to go and vote. I need you to volunteer hard, because we cannot win an election on Facebook. You cannot tweet your vote to victory. And you can take some really pretty pictures of Instagram, but November 7th is going to be a really sad day. I need you to volunteer harder than you ever have before. Knock on doors, make phone calls, reach out to folks who don't think you care about them. And make sure you talk about not why they should vote for you, but tell them why they should vote for themselves. Because I know every single one of us knows a Walter.
Come on.
We all know folks who are desperate for help, but don't know from whence their help can come.
Come on.
We all know folks who think that the solutions have already been done and that they just got left out. They need you, because if you knew to show up here tonight, you know to show up where they are.
That's right.
And you need to open that car door, put them inside, and drive them to the polls day after day after day, so that the Republicans have no idea what hit them. That's how we win. We win by showing up and showing out every single day. We win by showing that we believe in each other. Because the reality is, we are Georgia.
We are.
We are Georgia. This room is Georgia. We look different, but we love the same. We love our state, and we love our neighbors, and we want everyone to have the freedom and the opportunity to thrive. We don't believe that we should pass laws that legalize discrimination in the state of Georgia. We don't believe that anyone should be told you're not enough.
Come on.
But the only way we lift up our voices is through our votes.
That's right.
And if we lift up our voices this time,
Come on.
and we show them our votes are real and strong and powerful,
Come on, come on.
then this becomes our time, and this is our state. We are Georgia. Let's get it done. 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 Let's get Now, there are approximately 2 billion of you in this room. And I would love to take a picture with all of you, so instead what I'm going to do is a 44-year-old's version of a selfie.